What's up, guys? Welcome to the On Track with Annie podcast. We're here in beautiful California. I'm here with Nik Richie. How are you?
Hi, Annie. How are you?
I'm doing well. This is a beautiful studio that you have set up that you have not used yet for your own podcast.
No.
Which you need to.
You're de-virginizing me today, so which is great. And I love your shades.
I like it. We were like, should we wear these shades? We look like total divas, but I think it's a good look,
Dude,
don't you?
this is vibes right now.
Like with the puffer jacket on it, and you have your collar popped. I'm like,
it's winter.
I mean, everyone wants to be him right now.
Well, that's not everyone. Maybe like 95%.
I want this whole look.
You do?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Dude, your look is like legit too.
Maybe I should pop. No, I'm not popping the collar, but I think it works.
But
so
do you feel our energy right now? It's so strong.
It's very strong.
Yeah.
You guys can't feel it through the audio, but it's strong right now. But you may ask why we're wearing shades. This is a company called Sunbox. Did you found it originally?
Yeah. Well, it's three of us, our buddies, and we're like, hey, women love wearing sunglasses, and they waste a lot of money on sunglasses, and they lose them or scratch them, or they have kids, or they're just trashing them all the time. So we're like, hey, why don't we make a subscription service where it's $20 a month, you get 2 shades. And so we literally just came up with this, and it's been going gangbusters. Like the shades you and I have on, we look
phenomenal.
Oh, we're so A-list right now. It's
Phenomenal.
crazy. Like you couldn't, if I was walking down the street right now, people would be like, oh, that guy's loaded, but they don't know.
They're going to be like, are those Sunbox shades?
Yeah, exactly.
I want some of those.
So that was the whole thing. It's like, hey, how do we get out to the masses? And honestly, it was a business thing. And, how do we do D2C? How do we arbitrage, which we can get into?
Mm-hmm.
We've invented that kind of e-commerce game through the internet. And this was a niche that wasn't filled. So we hit that niche hard, and we're crushing it. Sunboxshop.com.
Hell yeah, that's the plug. So Nik, tell me about your background. For those people that don't know you, tell me your backstory, how you got into all this.
Dude, it's a long story. There was a site back in the day called The Dirty that I invented, and it was the first ever gossip blog for real people. I thought reality TV was on the come up. Survivor just started. The Real Housewives of OC just started. I'm like, wow, reality TV is blowing up. Like, why has no one done reality internet? And this was in like 2002, 2003. And I was living in Scottsdale at the time. And I'm like, God, everyone out here wants to be Paris Hilton, and plastic surgery was just starting to become a thing. And I was funny. So I was like always making like little monikers and giving nicknames to people. And these people became they're like dirty celebrities, and they blew up. And, when girls got fake boobs, I would call them +2s, because if they were 6 and they got fake boobs, they became an 8. So like there was just like little things here and there that it was kind of like a sociology project for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just bored, and it went viral, and it was kind of like right before Facebook. It was when MySpace was still kind of a thing.
Love MySpace.
So yeah, so like, not to age myself, but I got sued numerous times. I went 50-0 in lawsuits. And
oh my God.
Yeah, because
you got sued 50 times.
Well, no one knew if it was legal what I was doing. Like, how can someone post and it was all third-party content. Like,
so you get the email for another lawsuit. You're like, another one's coming in. How much this time?
Yeah, but you know what? It was weird to me because I enjoyed it. Like, C&Ds, I thought it was funny. Like, I would get these things, and they were like toilet paper to me. And like, I would frame them, put them on my wall. Like, it was back then. I was like, I don't know if I just had no fear or what it was. Today it's different, but like, I was getting out of my 20s, starting my 30s, and I just thought I was just like a renegade, right? So like, and there was like this weird fear of me, but when they would see me, they would, take a picture and like do shots and like worship me. So it was like the weirdest thing, but I was in Scottsdale, so anywhere I walked around, I was literally like Leo DiCaprio in Scottsdale. It was crazy. So it was an amazing time, amazing life. And yeah, I ended up winning a major lawsuit in there, rolling around Scottsdale, and I felt
Dressed
like
like this, apparently.
a little bit better.
Okay.
And I was the Persian Leo DiCaprio out there. Like everyone wanted to like touch me. It was weird. And then the cool part was it started growing, and it went into I don't know. We ended up in like 335 cities all over the world,
Damn.
and there was no way to monetize because there was no such thing as like AdSense or Google Ads or like any of this stuff. So we were doing like direct billboard advertising for majority of the nightclubs and hospitality scene
Mm-hmm.
because that was pretty much what we were making fun of. And the crazier part too was like the only way I would be getting booked for appearances. So I was making like 25,000 for 2 hours.
What? So
sitting in a
when you
nightclub.
talk about going viral, because it's interesting now how it is, was it basically like headlines on the internet, or how did that work? Or shows like what you're saying, big shows?
So you have to understand too, like the internet was completely different back then. There was no Instagram. There's no like going viral today is completely different than going viral back then.
Mm-hmm.
Going viral back then was you would write a story, it would get picked up, on TMZ or the New York Times, and all of a sudden you'd have almost like a real press release on a story, and it would get so many impressions because people used to like actually read back then. Apps weren't like really a thing yet, so they would read full stories and they would be so invested, and print media was still a thing. Like you'd get in the tabloid magazines and the weeklies would still dominate. So it's just crazy to me how much it's changed over the past 5 to 10 years. And it's changed in a really bad way because the way we process now is we want real time instant gratification. Back when I started it was more of like, wow, you can continue a storyline for not 24 hours, but for weeks on end if you have the right story, and people will actually read it and they'd be so invested in it that they would comment on it and they would like feel like, and give me clues, or they would feel like they were like my own like civilian paparazzi. So yeah, it was awesome.
What was the biggest scandal, I guess, that you had to go through?
Dude, we broke some big ones. Obviously, the one of the biggest ones was the Stormy Daniels Donald Trump story.
Okay, tell me about this.
Stormy, what happened is we were kind of friends with her manager at the time, and Stormy had a big story that she wanted to get out there. And it's hard because, nothing against porn stars, but it's hard to they kind of lack credibility, right? So you have to find someone that will take the risk. And it wasn't like Stormy was going to just us, like she was going to everyone, but just no one believed her. So what happened is at the time we broke the Demi Moore Ashton Kutcher cheating, when Ashton Kutcher was cheating on Demi Moore, ended their marriage. He hooked up with Sarah Leal, and we were getting tons of random like women who've slept with athletes, celebrities. Like people were submitting it to us because we were giving a voice to the mistress, and the mistress would give us enough information where we would be like, okay, well, let's run with it. Who cares? And I didn't care to get sued at the time. I was like, when Dr. Dre sued me, and it was true that he cheated on his wife and it ended his divorce, I was like, this is awesome. Dr. Dre just sued me, right? So
You're like, keep it coming.
yeah. So it was almost like I wanted it because what it would do is we call it the Streisand effect. We would hopefully get a C&D from a celebrity, and it would blow up the story, and then the real journalists come in and they start doing their homework, right? And then they find all the cracks. And that's kind of what happened with Stormy. Stormy sent us this whole like breakdown of what happened in Lake Tahoe and how, Trump's wife Melania was pregnant with their child, and what they did on the bed, and like what they were watching, and the whole lead up and everything, photos of them together. And I was like, screw it, let's go, and we did it, and it went wild, went viral everywhere. And then the Wall Street Journal came in and they pulled up the records and they're like, wow, she really did get paid, you know? So,
Wow.
and then the Wall Street Journal won a Pulitzer Prize for it. It's great. It's amazing.
So, how is your day to day in this time? Because it's a lot about kind of finding out what's happening, reviewing stories that people are submitting. Like, what was your day to day like trying to run this business?
It was a party. Like it wasn't, I always tell people like if I kept doing it, I'd probably be bigger than David Portnoy, but I didn't want that life. Like I wanted to be a father. I wanted to have kids. Like I wanted a family. Like I was still a normal person. But the dirty was like it was, you know, on the West Coast. Barstool was on the East Coast. And Portnoy was, you know, I like the guy, but he's just nuts. So I wasn't nuts. I was just funny and I was trying to actually make money. Like it was a business to me, right? These other guys, they're like degenerates. They want to party. They want to gamble. Like that wasn't my swagger. Like that's not who I am. For me, my day to day was waking up, receiving thousands upon thousands of submissions every single morning, combing through with my team saying, I like this one. I like that one. And I think that's where I got in trouble because I just didn't let everything just go on the site. I actually chose what I wanted to get up there. And usually what I was choosing was like, you know, who's the better looking post or what's the biggest scandal. And I think what the only benefit I got from running the dirty, honestly, was being able to process in real time and time management and being able to task on myself. Like I can do 10 things, probably 20 things, and process 20 things at the same time. So, and I had no choice. Like I was getting submissions from Canada all day. I was getting submissions from Australia. I was getting submissions from China, like just random places. And I would have to literally try to get up, I don't know, probably 300 to 400 posts a day. And go through those posts and write my little funny saying, like, you know, look at her elbows, they're gross. So like that was the benefit of it. But I think the day to day was tough. Like I'd wake up every morning at 4 a.m. in my underwear, I'd jump on my laptop, start going through stories, emails, getting on with the team, head into the office around 7. Just literally just plugged into my computer, like literally all day. And there was no like off button. It was a very lonely life too, because I was single at the time. My first wife left me because of the site. And I would just literally do it all day. And then I would go to the movies at night. I'd walk over to Fashion Square and just watch every single movie. I would have dinner at Sbarro in the food court. And it was just, and then every weekend I would be flying to a different city and just partying and then starting all over again. It was Groundhog Day every single day. And then I would rotate, you know, obviously there was a lot of women in Scottsdale. So I would be rotating around the nights as well.
Did you feel like you had to be in the party scene to maybe like catch some of the action without stories being submitted? Like if you saw something with your own eyes happening, you could add that to your stories.
I think a little bit, but I think the reality is the alcohol was free. Everything was free. So like I try
Like,
to
why
take,
not?
I didn't like, I try to take advantage of it, but like when you're offered, you know, free food everywhere you go, or you're offered free alcohol everywhere you go, it's like, what am I going to do tonight? You know, like I'm just going to go to American Junkie, which was like down the street from my place in Scottsdale. And I was treated like a king. So like I took advantage of it as much as I could. And I had serveritis too. Like in serveritis, for people that don't know, and I'm sure other people have this, it's a serious illness where you only fall in love with the servers at the locations.
What?
Serveritis.
This is not a real thing.
No, it's a real thing.
How is this possible?
Because at that time I was royalty. So like I never, no matter how hot the women were, they were still civilians. Okay. So I didn't look at them in that light. But for some reason, when they worked at the establishment and they served me and they were just so hot, I was just like, okay, I'm locked in. It's like Top Gun. So and I was Maverick, and I was just taking down servers.
Did you get bored easily after that? You were kind of like, I see another one now. I'm bored.
I thought the evolution was like now I have to go to Vegas a lot because Vegas was kind of like all the celebrities would go there on the weekends and party and whatever. And I thought like I was working my way up the server food chain. So
Was it at a specific place? Just all different places.
all different places.
Okay.
And then I ended up really falling for one server in Dallas, and everyone named her Nick's chick. And then, but she turned out to be like Ginger from Casino. Nightmare. And
Why was she a nightmare?
because like I was like living the life and like giving her jewels, and then she would like process the jewels and give it to like some loser kid that she was dating, you know what I mean? And that kid would reap all the rewards of like whatever gifts I gave her. And so we called her Ginger because like it was such a casino move, you know? So
I need to hear more about these servers. Did you rotate them or did you just kind of get rid of them when you were done?
no, it was a little bit like volleyball. We
Okay.
rotated a little bit.
Did they know?
Of course they did.
Oh, so they all knew. They're like, we're trading off. He's here this weekend. We're coming in.
I had my spots where I knew like Body English at the Hard Rock back when Vegas was like really good. They had the hottest servers, and that was like my go-to. Pure in Las Vegas at Caesars was really good because I was on the stage and there was like the creme de la creme of servers.
Should be like your new app. Like, which place has the hottest servers? Go look for this person.
That's too genius,
I
Amy
know.
Cooper. This is, see, we might be onto something. But yeah, so I worked my way up the servers, and then once you tap out all the servers, then you start hitting up the celebrities. So then I started going for the celebrity chicks.
Your contacts must have been crazy. You're like going through them. You're like, which one? I can't imagine.
Well, emojis weren't a thing yet. So, but I had like a number system and asterisks and stuff. I was a bad person. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was a really bad person.
Yeah, so having this at your job, which is basically kind of like not talking shit, but kind of talking shit about people's lives and trying to ruin it. Did it affect your personal lives where you're kind of like, how do I be super nice and loving to this person now after like you had to flip the switch?
No, I think when people meet me, they're like, wow, like he's not the devil. Like he's not who I thought he was, you know? Because in reality, like I'm a nurturing, like affectionate, normal person, you know? And now I'm a father and it's what I love to do. I love coaching kids. Like I'm, you know, some say I'm the #1 little league coach in the nation. So like, I like that. That gives me closure in life to know that I'm such a good little league coach. So like those things to me are great, but I do know that when I get fixated on stuff, I don't lose. And that's an issue I have to like work on because all I know how to do is win, and I'll do whatever it takes to win. Like that's how I'm wired.
Well, that's the entrepreneur in you. And I don't think that's weird. I think that's normal for many entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. It's like as great as my past was, it's the stigma of being the dirty guy it's never going to go away, which I'm okay with at times. But the reality is like, I have like 10 businesses. That this was just like back in the day and it put me on the map, but I don't regret it because it gave me so many connections and so much leverage. Because I think business is really just about your Rolodex, you know, it's who you know, it's who's going to benefit you and how can you benefit them.
Right.
And I'm really good at that. Like I'm really good at PR and putting people on a pedestal that they shouldn't be on and almost fake it till you make it. And then they make it and then they're just rolling. Right. So I love doing that. That gives me joy. But you know, I look at trends and I try to see how I can capitalize on trends within a 2 to 3 year period and then exit. You know?
Did you ever feel bad about anything that you said about people that kind of like ruined their career a little bit?
No.
No?
I think I lacked empathy back then. I've gained on that, but like my biggest thing was for some reason I always justified it in my mind like, hey, I don't know this person. To them, like they would hate me, but like when I saw them on the street, I'm like, I don't even know who you are, because I was processing so many people at the same time from every city in America, that people were so invested in that one little story, and they just assumed that like I knew that person, which I never did. And like when I got sued, it was like national attention by Bengal cheerleader. I had no idea who she was. And like the stories that were coming up that she was sleeping with her students and all this stuff, like how would I know if that's real or not? I didn't.
Was
And
that you were on a show? Was it Anderson
yeah,
Cooper?
I've been on all those. Anderson Cooper is not a fan of mine.
Okay.
He thought I was a really bad person, and he basically tried to like make it look like what I was doing is the same thing as being a drug dealer. He's like, you know, there was a market for heroin, because I was trying to explain like there's a market for this. And he's like, well, there's a market for heroin. You know, like it's two totally different things. But whatever, that's the past. I don't dislike the guy, but he ran with a story without even fact checking, and he ended up being wrong, and I ended up being right. So I won.
Don't you love
So,
that?
yeah, of course.
Honestly, though, I think that's the way to be even now is like you don't know half of the people that you interact with, so who cares? Like you really got to focus on your core circle and then what you're doing. And I think that's the problem now is people are way too focused on, you know, other people. And I think that's probably something that you did right a long time ago is not.
I think it's so weird. Like everything I did in the past, today I see it so much. Like I invented selfies. Not me.
How did you invent
I'm
them?
not,
I
I'm
wanna
not me
hear.
personally, but like we made fun of a guy that was taking pictures of himself, and obviously there wasn't like camera phones back then, but
Yeah.
he was taking his like Motorola digital camera, and he was taking pictures of himself, and we called him P Nazi, which was short for picture Nazi, and he was this, and you're talking about going to the gym, taking pictures, and the fact that everyone was freaking the F out over how could I be posting people publicly? Like privacy was like cool back then. Like that was the thing. Like, hey, you got to keep your life private,
Right.
not public. Like, and then people were like, okay, well, this person's getting famous. Nick made fun of this person. This person's getting, you know, doing appearances, and it was starting to build their brand. So I think we were like the original thing, like the original influencer, like, hey, you can take someone and this guy's driving a car that's a hoopty, but he's getting made fun of, but all of a sudden he's getting popularity and people are obsessed with him. So I think it kind of like, it was almost like the digital test to see if public figures could be a real thing, if influencers were celebrities, and they were.
So what are your thoughts on influencers and social media now? Because like having your background, I mean, it's crazy what's happening now and how everything is so public and in the moment, like what we were talking about before.
I think I love it. I think I paved a way, and in reality, not to go back, we won a huge lawsuit in a higher court, and
With who?
against this cheerleader, because I
Oh, okay.
lost. I lost in two jury trials I did in Kentucky, and this went into a bigger situation where we set case law because there was no law put in place whether, say, if Annie Cooper was to post someone else on Facebook and defame them, who's liable? Is the person that wrote it or the website owner? So what everyone was trying to say is the website owner was liable. So when I lost in that jury trial, everyone panicked because this was the end of YouTube. This was the end of Google. This was the end of Facebook. This was the end of Zuckerberg as we know it. And Zuck, you know, he came to my aid. Like these guys all came in, the lawyer army. I mean, like you're talking about 300 of the biggest, Amazon, Bezos, like everyone, they came and backed me, and they all wrote these massive amicus briefs. And we ended up winning because if I went down, they all went down.
Why is that? Why if you went down, they all went down?
Because if I would have lost this case, which was the CDA, it's the Communications Decency Act. Let me repeat that. The CDA, it's the Communications Decency Act. Just want to say it very clear so everyone understands. And that's what this was. It's like, hey, our website owner is liable for third-party comments. So if anyone said anything bad on X now, formerly Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, if you submitted something, then YouTube and these websites are held liable, which means they would be sued into holy hell by every single person in the world. So it was the end of the internet, pretty much. Anything that's third party driven, and you're talking no Instagram, like that would not be even a thing.
Wow.
So I was the guy that laid on the sword. So I'm proud of that. But at the same time, like everyone made billions because of this and I didn't. So that kind of pisses me off. But listen, that was my like claim to fame with the dirty. And I was good with that because it gave me closure. Like, hey, kids are studying me in law school. That's kind of cool,
So how did you transition out of that when social media, I mean, I guess you kind of were done with that when social media started, but how did you transition into like your next level of your career?
I think for me, it was looking at different things because I was retired for a little while and then I was doing consulting stuff. Like I was doing a lot of stuff with like the tabloid stuff, like Us Weekly, In Touch, Life and Style, all the AMI brands, American media brands at the time before they sold. And I was making like stupid money, like not even real money. Like I can't even tell you, like to really just sit on my couch and do nothing and just
Write articles?
no, just help them monetize.
Okay.
But also, yeah, like give them breaking exclusive stories, because at that time, after I sold the dirty, like celebrities were coming to me and they're like, hey, like this is going on, or I have this, like, can you broker a deal? Because everything was starting to become pay to play. And, the celebrities were selling their own stories to the tabloid magazines because
To
they're
make
like,
money.
well, it was crazy because, and it really, well, it's not crazy. They just wanted to control the narrative. And that's the cool thing that I learned. It's like, hey, you can really just guide your story. Right. So I was doing that for, I don't know, 3 years. And then I dabbled a little bit. I tried to be the CEO of Hollywood Life, and I'm like, God, this is miserable. And but then on the side, I was doing a whole bunch of different projects, like outside the box, like Sunbox, just different things that were like behind the scenes, investing in different things, and just helping them monetize. So that's kind of how I got to where I am today. And I'm like, okay, well, hey, like I know media because I invented it. I know how this thing operates. I'm kind of like the flux capacitor of it, right? So I'm like, let me just start a PR company, and that's when I started Warrior Network Agency, and that's like my baby now. I think that's what I'm gonna. It's kind of like what I can do really, really well, and it's gonna be the long road, the big exit for me.
What do you want under this Warrior Network agency?
I think for me, it's honestly like the podcast thing is becoming a massive business, but really it's building brands and it's doing more D2C stuff. We have clients that are in every different level, from wellness to legal to fitness, and we're trying to create products around their brands, because I think what influencers are doing right now, they're failing. They're making money, but they're doing it at such a minimal scale. They're doing the like to know it's and all this stuff, which is paying them such a small percentage. And it literally shows them, like, look at the power I have at even 100,000 followers, that I can make any brand like $10 to $20 to $30,000 a month, and I'm making $1,000 a month. It doesn't make logical sense. So I think for me, it's really empowering these people to say, like, okay, what do you do on a daily basis? What is your go-to every single day? And what are you preaching to people? And nothing infuriates me more than when I see a person plugging a product for free, when they're just doing it subliminally, like Starbucks or like whatever it is, like these shades we're wearing right now. Like, you're making me money, So I just, it makes me so mad, because I would be like, okay, Coop, we did this show. We sold X amount of shades that you're wearing right now. Okay. Now we got to do, and this is kind of what we did with Larissa Violet, who's one of our clients, is like, hey, we got to build a whole brand around you. You're going to have your own sunglass line. We see the analytics. We see it's working, and we go. So it's literally looking at those things and saying, okay, well, what can we build around this person, instead of doing it the other way around? And that's where I think the future is going. It's not it's not as much like, oh, AI is great. AI is great to save time, but people are still the brand. Like no one's going to buy something because a robot's wearing it, right?
So this is interesting with brand building because I think a few years ago it was kind of like, and some people still think like this, is whatever content you create has to go towards some type of business and you're just known for this one thing. Whereas now I think as a brand, it's important to show different sides of you. Like you're not just known for workout videos, for example.
Yeah.
You're known for you like to cook, you like to drink coffee, you like to wear sunglasses. Like it's kind of branding yourself into an actual human. But what do you think about that with brand building and social media?
I think you can't do brand building without social media. I think it's a marriage and it's a very powerful one. My biggest suggestion is A/B testing. Like for me, when you're developing a workout video, right? And I look at your workout video, I'm looking at 3 different formats of the workout video. I'm testing time slots, I'm testing audiences, and I'm testing reach. And then if I see out of those 3 videos what one does the best, then I go all in and I boost those videos. Not much, like $500 or whatever. But the goal is ROI, return on investment. From that $500, and I'm guessing you would do, a subscription model to your workouts, right? At $30 or whatever it is, a monthly fee, right? So we'd have to figure out how many of those people, and say 1,000 people decide, okay, well, I'm going to sign up to Cooper's training because I saw this video go viral and I want to have those abs and I want to do that type of workout. We just made $3,000, right? And it's residual. So now, even if the drop-off rate is 10%, you're fine. $2,800 a month you just made off one video, right? So those are the things that I think people sleep on, saying, because they're looking at it from like a perspective of vanity. Like, look how
Right.
cool I look, look at me. Like I'm posting this and it got 1 million views. Fuck your million views. Oh, sorry. F your million views. Your million views, how much money that make you? Nothing makes me more mad when I see that, because what is the messaging? What is the call to action? What is the learn more button? Where is it going? Where are we sending these people? You have to look at this from a perspective. If you got 1 million views, 10% of those views, it's 100,000. Let's say 1% of those views, right, is 10,000. If 10,000 people sign up for your program, it's game over. You don't even need Instagram anymore. You just got to maintain your base.
So do you think every piece of content that you make then should have a like point of direction for people to go to, like a link, a website, a call to action for every piece of content?
Unless you're trying to build your follower base, which I think is a dinosaur model. If you're trying to get followers now, you are living in the 80s. The goal is the algorithm.
Okay.
You should only be focused on how do I crack the algorithm? And I think that's the research that you need to be doing is, and I'm not saying you personally, I'm saying the world in general, you need to be researching and going on YouTube because YouTube is the single most greatest search engine. And you need to literally see and type in, how do I crack the algorithm for TikTok? How do I crack the algorithm for X? And people will guide you through the process. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to have to keep testing it. But once you crack it, it's game over. You're set.
Well, and I feel like it always changes, the algorithm.
It does, because people are making so much money. And the people that are getting mad are the social networks because they're not getting a piece of the pie. The algorithm is changing constantly because people like Instagram are seeing, hey, someone just spent $1,000 and they made $10,000. We need to get them to spend more. We need to reduce the algo in this niche or this genre. We need to make it harder for them so they spend more. Because at the end of the day, they're trying to make stupid money too. They have shareholders they have to impress on a quarterly basis. So their main focus is, how do I screw the business so that they know that they have no choice? Because once you get to a certain plateau in your business and you're making $100,000 a month, where do you go from there? All you can do is you can throw in more money. But a lot of these businesses, they have to hit a 5X margin to make up for the cost of goods, make up for shipping, just to make it make sense. And that's really hard to do. If you're hitting 5X, you're golden. If you're hitting 10X, you're in another stratosphere. So I think for me personally, I would tell everybody, like, do the math. from a business standpoint, you have to do the math and test it small. Like, who cares? Like, spend $10, see how it works, and then gradually grow it. But the fact that someone does a video and they're just trying to get followers, or they're hoping their video does 1 million followers. And I think people are noticing now that, like, these videos that go viral, it's not converting into followers, but followers, they don't make you money. What makes you money is the random consumer scrolling at midnight, looking at your video saying, I want to be her. What is she wearing? Like, your outfit right now, you look fire, Coop.
Thank you.
But look, every girl's going to be like, wow, what is she wearing? And now, since you're not doing a call to action, they're literally like Googling different looks and outfits, trying to find a picture of what looks like you, and you just missed the dollar.
But then it's linking to like one of the LTK sites. I think, the like to know it or whatever.
It is. But why? Why wouldn't everything you're wearing be Cooper Plus or whatever you want to call it?
Exactly. I think you can monetize, and you're right. Like, I have friends that have 6 million followers. They don't make any money. They make a couple from brand deals, but it's nothing that they can even live off of, to be honest. And looking at that made me open my eyes like crazy. Like,
Good.
this is, because you could have 50,000 followers and have a brand or something that you're sending people to, and you're making, I don't know, $300,000 a year with whatever you're promoting.
If you have 6 million followers and you're not making at least $1 million at least $1 a follower, which is $6 million a year, you are a complete utter failure, and you need to ghost that friend, whoever that person is.
I love this. But I think some people don't have that mindset, like the entrepreneurial mindset, where they're like just waiting for someone to bring them something, and they're not thinking about, what can I do with this piece of content?
The future of the influencer, if they want to survive, is to become the CEO. Until you actually can be the CEO of your own brand, which is yourself, whatever that is, and you can spin off yourself into 4 to 5 different products and really see which products work and really push yourself. Like, right now, I'm big into a restaurant right now called Bistro 38. It's in New York. It's in Midtown. It's on fire.
Hell yeah.
Because all I'm doing is I'm using social, and I'm arbitraging, and we're getting reservations that we can't even keep up with, because people are reading our stories and seeing that it's Open Tables, top restaurant in New York, right? But the reach is everything. Like, how do you send the message, and how do you get it to the masses? But for me, I look at it from the perspective, like, I'm getting a piece of the pie now. I'm not going to a restaurant. I'm not going to TGI. Well, that doesn't even exist anymore. But I'm not going to Carbone and posting a picture of my pasta, because I don't want to look cool, A, and B, why do I want to give Carbone more of my money?
I love this.
Right? Like, does that make sense?
It's so true. Or posting your $19. I post my Starbucks occasionally, but you're right.
Starbucks, I'll give a pass, because I do that sometimes by default. Because I wake up every morning, I go to Starbucks right when it opens, 6 o'clock, walk the beach, get on my phone, plan out my entire day, like literally from look at all my meetings, see which one's a waste of time, and cut them shorter. Like, literally analyze people, look up who I'm talking to, seeing what their weak points are, and also looking for trigger words. Like, I think for me, like when I see you, I'm like, wow, okay, Wilhelmina model, beautiful, gorgeous. She's got it all together. She's got a kick-ass podcast. You should be making millions. Why? Because you're headstrong. You actually are a little bit alpha. And when I first walked in and I saw you, I was like, okay, she can sell anyone anything.
Thank you. That little boost of confidence is great.
No, it's true though. And the only person that needs to know that is yourself, right? So I think for me, it's always looking at a person and evaluating them and judging them. I'm a great judger of people, obviously. I've learned that from the dirty. And knowing who's real and who's fake, and not wasting your time. Time's limited. I'm 45 now. Like, for me to sit down and waste any minutes of my time, if it's not benefiting my family or my kids or me personally, like, I have to be selfish now. I don't have a choice.
I think everyone needs to be selfish with their time.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane how much time we waste with people that we don't like, or we're just like, oh, we'll spend the time going to this certain place we want to go to. That really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then you realize, like, what did I do this weekend? Oh, was in the car driving. I was with people I don't like. I didn't really
Yeah.
do much of anything. And the next week comes and you're like, what's happening? Like, where am I going with this?
And I'll give you an example too. The things that I don't like, which I've noticed that I've done in the past, which now that I'm more self-aware, is repeating actions, right? Like for instance, you and I were talking about before we started recording, we were talking about Art Basel.
Right.
I've done it so many times. Why would I want to do it again? And I was almost going to do it. And the only reason I was going to do it is because of FOMO. You see pictures or you see,
Yeah.
this chick or whatever is there and you're like, I'm missing out. But the reality is the result at the very end is the same. You're flying back home and you're miserable on the plane, and it literally ruins a week of your life because you're just recovering from an exhausting trip, drinking and partying with the same people, eating the same meals, talking about the same stuff. Literally, you're going to Art Basel to talk about Vegas the weekend before and how crazy it was. Then you're at Art Basel and you're talking about, you're at Art Basel. Well, the next
There's
thing,
no
whatever
art
the
being
next thing.
seen at Art Basel.
I'm just saying, like, it doesn't make sense to me. Nothing makes sense to me why I'm going to the same places to see the same people when they live down the street from me. Like, why am I spending $5,000 to go have dinner with you at Carbone in Miami?
I mean, I agree with that. The Art Basel side that I like is the music, like because I like certain DJs,
Okay.
and being with my group of friends and just having fun that night. Because I'm like, I mean, this is a great experience. I love that stuff. But going a week strong and going just for that, if you're just miserable the entire time, of course, and you just want to show it off, I don't get that part.
What DJs do you like?
I like Blondish. I like Michael Beebe, which I actually missed that one. I like
liked
Rufus Du
Blondish
Sol.
until she screwed over Ushi.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
I don't know about this.
the
See, you know
problem
more than I do,
the
Lucy.
problem is with Blondish is like she thinks she's famous right now, and I really liked her before when she wasn't famous, and now she just feels like she can just play like a 10-minute set, and if she's not happy she can just walk off. And I just feel like when you start something for the fans, you have to end it for the fans. So keep going. Next DJ.
That's the problem with a lot of celebrities, though, is it turns into something different when they get big.
It's called no self-awareness and understanding, like, you're crying about your own life. Like, bro, high-class problems are not real problems.
Okay, I agree with that. Okay, Michael Beebe, he just got over this brain cancer situation.
Don't know who that is.
He's great. Rufus Du Sol.
That's just trend, like automatic trendy. You have to, like, that's whatever.
I like the Martinez brothers. I saw them in Ibiza. That was cool.
I heard they're broke. Keep going.
I love this. Oh my God. Okay, so not pause. I didn't like that. That was Francis, how do you say his last name? Mercier?
Okay, I don't know who that is.
Jamie Jones.
Okay, I know who that is.
Adam Port. He's good.
Okay.
God, I'm like blanking on all these people.
Okay, so far you
Fisher was not. I didn't like him.
Okay, so far you're naming all the worst DJs in the world.
Okay, tell me your favorite. We got to hear it.
My favorite Cedric Gervais.
Wow, he knew this automatically. Okay, continue. Why?
So, because I rep him, I do his PR, and I think that he's for the fans, and he is of the older generation, so he believes that he's going to take a picture with everyone. He's going to smile. Even when he doesn't want to be there, he's going to give it 200%. I think now we're in a generation with DJs, they actually really believe they're celebrities before they push play. Like, come on. It's a USB drive. Like, you're hitting play. Like, let's being a DJ is like being in the WWF. 100%. There's no difference.
Explain.
Well, the WWF is fake wrestling. Mm-hmm. Being a DJ is being a fake. All you're doing is you're putting your hands in the air. Once you put that USB drive in, it's literally like just listening to my playlist. There's no difference.
So you're saying it's a fake career?
I think it's the closest to Milli Vanilli tactics. Like, you're literally just, I get it. You're creating a song. Like, sometimes you can create it like a good remix, or you know, you're Swedish House Mafia and you make the jam of the year. You're Avicii. Like, I understand the art side of it, but like acting like you're performing in front of all these millions of people. You're not singing. You're not doing anything. You're just standing up there, and you literally are just
The hand.
yeah. You're doing the wave, the motion, and you're just saying like the French or whatever they do. You know.
Everyone in the crowd is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You look around, everyone's just, it's the same hand, the same bop. I'm like, this is really
Yeah.
funny. It's great.
I love it.
Okay, which DJs should stay then? DJs. Which DJs are you like, these are real ones? Besides the one you just mentioned.
I like Summit, to be honest.
Really?
I wanted to not like Summit.
Okay.
But I actually watched one of his shows and I'm like, okay, I get it.
I like his story. I don't really like the radio pop style of DJing.
Yeah, but his story was manufactured a little bit.
You think so?
Oh, 100%.
Why? You think none of it was true?
No, I think everyone needed a DJ that was cheap. So I feel like the Godfathers got together, the Strausses, the Grutmans of the world, and they're like, hey, we need to create someone that we can afford, because the prices are just getting out of control. These DJs are charging amounts that are just, you can't make money on it. Like, it's not realistic. Bottle service is not real anymore. The younger generation doesn't want to drink. They want to drink water. They're
They
about
wanna do
wellness. They want to do
They literally want to, yeah.
they want to do Molly
They
and
want to
stuff.
go crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and that takes water. Can't make money off water. So
You can't make money off water?
well, they're selling. You can sell water bottles for $5. Okay, like I get it,
Yeah.
but dude, that's not. You're not talking $2,000 for a bottle of Grey Goose. That's not even a thing anymore.
No.
You know, that's huge profit. So I think Summit was created to help the profit margin, and then it kind of backfired. He actually like became big.
He's huge now.
Yeah, he's too huge.
Why? He's not too huge. Too huge
I think he's too huge.
for how quickly it happened.
Yeah, 2 years. Like, come on. Like, if that's not the fakest thing ever, I don't know what is.
Yeah, because they all, at first I was like, it's the age range, but they all kind of are in the same, except for like some of the older DJs
And
that
the
are still
fake,
around.
the fake relationship, like, come on.
Oh, Alex Earl's sister?
Yeah, like let's
Yeah, I
let's
feel
be
like-
real.
But was it a fake relationship or is it just like a situationship like everyone has these days?
No, it's a manufactured. Like, hey, Alex, can you help us blow this guy up?
Hey, but that's part of PR, right?
No,
It worked.
I'm not hating on it. I think everyone has their lane,
Mm-hmm.
and he's an overnight sensation. He needs a nose job. Other than that, like he's probably one of the better DJs right now. Like, he's worth seeing, and young women love him.
Yeah, you know what I like is the DJs where it's just in a cool location. It's not even about the DJ, it's about the party.
Yeah.
Like if it's in the pyramids of Egypt or whatever, and you're just all having a big party. That's the stuff that I like. But the typical club, whatever situation, I don't really care.
I just feel like it's crazy for me to look at you and be like, hey, she's going to be partying all night till 6 a.m.
I like to party sometimes.
Really?
But not all the time. Like that's not my all the time thing. But I have major FOMO. Like I
Like, if you see
can't.
something on Instagram?
Not really on Insta. I really don't scroll anymore ever.
Okay, that's good. That's healthy.
But I look up things. I'm like, what's the cool event that's happening? And I don't like to waste a second of time. Like I have a hard time sleeping because I just want to like go out and do things, whether it's like wakeboarding, playing guitar, surfing. Like I don't want to waste a second of life.
So you want to do tangible stuff, like actually you
And
actually want to use your
experiences
five
and-
senses.
Yes, or if I'm not doing anything, I at least want to feel like I'm getting towards a point, like I'm working
Yeah.
and like making progress. If that's not happening, I feel like a loser. Like I'm just wasting my time
Okay,
in life, if that makes sense.
that's respectable.
It sounds crazy, but it's just how my brain works.
So are you more into like? Do you like to travel and stuff?
I love traveling. But even sometimes on the plane, I'm like, if I'm not on the plane doing work or like listening to a podcast that's helping me, I feel like I'm just wasting those couple of hours or sleeping or whatever.
What do you think about podcasting?
I love it.
Like,
Like me doing it?
yeah, I just like the whole industry in itself. Like, it's such a crazy moneymaker all of a sudden. So
Well, I think the problem is that people, at least a lot of people that I know, they don't watch movies, like go to the movies and do that as their thing. They're busy constantly traveling or in the car. And I think podcasts are a great way to get that entertainment where you're not having to like look at something or read something. And then social media, like people with podcasts social media influencers are more famous than actual celebrities
Yeah.
sometimes. And so I think being able to get that every week, you have like your show of them that's why it's popular. People
Yeah.
want that. And they have guests of other famous people or influencers. It's just, I don't know, it works.
It's just funny to me because like 10 years ago, when I was doing one of the first podcasts, and people were like, what is this? Like, this is a joke. Like, this isn't the radio. Like, you need to be on the radio. You have a radio voice. You should be on the radio. I'm like, radio? Like, that is like the most dead thing in the world.
They say that you have a radio voice?
No, well, back then I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel like you're very like soft spoken.
No, I am.
Okay.
But for some reason I like, and I don't drink or smoke or anything like that, but I have a raspy Jersey thing going on. So back then they were like, oh, you got to be on the radio and whatever. And I wasn't going to do that because I just didn't want to age myself. You know, it was like old dinosaurs. Like, I'm not trying to be Howard Stern. Guy's 100 years old, you know, talking about 20-year-olds. Like, it's weird.
I mean, but also I think podcasts now sometimes are frowned upon because everyone has it, which is annoying.
I think only like the top 1% of podcasts actually make money. And then now podcasts is kind of like the new social media. Like, everyone wants to have a podcast and say their opinion. And it's an impossible market to crack. Impossible.
I agree. I think the top 1% make money. Like, you'll get money through sponsorships, but I think it's a good way, like if you're doing clips, for people to see another side of you in a different setting. Yes. And so I think it helps with brand building and just, your social media in general. But having it as an actual career and that's the only thing, that's very tough.
It's just tough now too, because like interviews are not the same. Like, people are not going on like Alex Cooper for free. They charge. Right. Like, she's paying a lot of money to have guests.
And she says she doesn't. You think she pays?
100% she does. Jay Shetty does. Everyone pays. Everyone pays.
You think they pay their guests
the big
to
ones,
come on?
There's negotiations, whether it's not directly to like, hey, this is for the podcast. It could be purchase a product. It could be a separate side deal. Mm-hmm. But when you're talking to like doing a podcast with the top 1%, they're getting paid to be on that podcast. But it's not a bad thing. Like, listen, if Alex Cooper's paying $50,000 to get Megan Fox on her podcast, that she's gonna make $1 million off that show.
Having all those people watch.
So the ROI on that is unbelievable. Like, you see these podcasts that have these massive guests and they're hitting millions upon millions of views. Full send. Every show they do is like 10 million views.
Oh yeah, they kill it.
So why wouldn't you pay to have the best person on your pod in some sort of controversial state when you paid that person so you can ask them anything, So it's all business. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, how do I make $10 into 100?
It's just media too. So where do you see it going with social media? And like, I guess we're talking about brand building here. So where do you see it going?
I think you're going to start seeing things churn. Like, the celebrities are going to be the actual brands instead of the celebrity themselves. Mm-hmm. Like, Skims to me is a celebrity.
Okay.
Aloe's a celebrity. Lululemon's a celebrity. Yeah. Like, they're not actual like Kendall and Kylie wear Aloe, but no one cares about that. They care about Aloe. Like, I'm head to toe Aloe right now, right? And it's because I like it, but also I feel like it's a co-brand for me. Like, I feel like I'm a celebrity in their stuff, right? So like, I think that's the next wave of stuff. It's not the actual person, but the actual location. Even restaurants are going to start becoming famous.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and nightclubs are going to start
being able to go to this thing or wear this thing. You think it's going to that?
I think I learned through the dirty, like Live nightclub in Miami. I think Live is a celebrity. Like, when you look at these places,
I see what you're saying.
When you get celebrities to come there because they want to have fun and they're going there for the co-brand, they're okay with taking a picture there because they understand it's good for their brand to be with another celebrity. Right. So these locations are becoming famous in themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why like people like the glasses we're wearing, they have names. They're not just sunglasses. I don't know what you're wearing, but like, it's probably called like, Lucy or something, right? So it becomes its own thing. So I think that's where it's going to go. I think social media is going to only grow. I think it's like Bitcoin. I don't think everyone's like,
It's never
oh,
stopping.
it's going to fall off. I think Zuckerberg and these guys have got it to a place where they know how it cannot be MySpace
Yeah.
and not have a shelf life.
They can control it a little
They
bit
can
more.
control it. And then the power of going public and having shareholders is you're always pitching your next acquisition. So they're looking at from anybody that's competition, they're just going to acquire. Musk is just going to acquire Snapchat. He's going to acquire who knows. But whatever the next hot thing is, they're going to get it at infancy stage at such a
Yeah.
ridiculous markup, knowing that they can make it an add-on to their original business and make it work, right? They already have the infrastructure. They have some of the smartest Asians in the world, smartest Persians in the world, smartest NASA people in the world that used to work at NASA, but now they're working at SpaceX or they're working at Instagram at Meta, right? So these smart people aren't going anywhere. And they're just doing the same thing that I'm telling you is they're just looking at analytics. They're just looking at numbers. It's all math to them. And they're seeing like, hey, what are the trends? Listen, now our phones are listening to everything.
Yeah.
They know exactly what ads you want to click on. And we're getting to the point right now where advertising is so direct to consumer, where they're targeting so well that the ROIs are insane because you're not spending money on a random ad to be placed somewhere to go to a person that's not going to want your product,
Right.
you know? And it's the law of seven. You see something 7 times, you're going to acquire it.
Yeah, unless it really sucks. But
Yeah.
I think it's interesting too because there's a wave of people that are anti-social media right now. They're like, I'm sick of it. I don't want to create content. I don't want to do it. But I think realizing it now, those are just going to be the consumers then.
No, 100%.
And it's going to kind of push out the people that are actually focusing on creating content and business and all that.
I think the storefront thing, like people are still going to the malls because they want to be, like you said, they want to actually physically feel like they're doing
Yeah.
something. And those are the people that are going off social media and they're going and they're paying full retail because social media, you're getting discounted rates because there's no rent, right?
Right.
So now you have storefronts that have rent. So you're literally going and you're spending more money. So there's no loss for Aloe. Aloe loves you coming
They're
into the store.
killing it right now.
Yeah.
Like they're taking over Lululemon, everything.
Of course
But
they are.
by all rights, because their quality is great.
Well, plus I wear it.
Yeah, so everyone wants it now.
Of course.
Obviously.
Aloe Men.
Yeah.
I love it.
So who do you look up to? Because I feel like definitely not celebrities, definitely not DJs.
Well, DJs are not even a real thing. That was just me and you having fun.
Is there anyone that you actually look up to where you're like, holy shit, they're legit? You know, I
know this is going to sound weird, but I look up to my circle,
okay, like your peers.
my peers.
I like that.
Shahab Elmi is one of my friends from high school, and he owns a company called Symbiotica. He's the CEO of Symbiotica.
I've heard of that.
John Shahidi, he's the owner of Happy Dad with his partners Kyle, and they do the full sentence stuff as well.
Right.
Sam Shahidi is his brother. I look up to my peers because we all grew up together. Like since we were sophomores, freshmen in high school, John longer. So we've gone through different generational tracks of noticing what people like, and we're really, really smart together than apart. So like for me to go to someone that could be like a Gary Brecka or a Gary V and ask them for advice, Gary would give me advice almost in a showboating manner
Yeah.
to say, hey, look, I'm the expert at this and this is how you have to do it. If I went to Shahab or John Shahidis and said, hey, Shahidis, what should I do? They would come to me and be like, okay, well, hey, does this benefit Lion or Press, your kids? And is this going to help you not Is this going to be instant gratification? Are you going to make a quick buck now? Or are we looking at the long play?
Right.
So I think there's a different thing when we look at mentors and say like, hey, aspiring to be that person is the worst possible thing you can do. Going to your circle who actually knows you and say, hey, I aspire to be us because we're all winning together. How can the collective do it in a way where you ask them advice and they actually give you honest feedback? And it's not something that I'm posting on Instagram like, oh, look, Gary said this, you know?
Yeah.
It's more like, hey, Shahab, John, Sam, these guys have told me something personally. It's not for the masses. It's for our little circle of trust, right?
It's real.
And I have it's crazy to say this, but like even Shahab's wife, Tarana Elmi, who's the COO of Symbiotica, and like Lauren Bostic, like some of these powerful women, as crazy as it sounds, like I get more from them than I do from the guys because I get the female perspective.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for guy consumers to understand female buyers. I think it's almost impossible. And if you don't have a strong female presence, femininity is still a thing. Like women want to buy from women. They want to support women.
True.
And they are like the meanest people ever, women, because they don't want to give their money to men. They want to take money from men, and then they want to take that money and give it to other women. It's like they're their own race, you know? So, and hopefully I don't get canceled for that, but like,
No, I think you're right.
I'm a 100%
Women want to
right.
support women.
And you know what men
we're
want?
like anti-men.
And you know what
sometimes.
men want to do? Men want to support women. So
In certain ways.
no, in every way, in
Okay.
every way.
Okay.
I think men are getting screwed out of the entire system because we're looking at it as protectors and nurturers. So we want to give you whatever you want
Okay.
for whatever reasons. So we want to give you whatever you want. Women don't do that with men. They literally go to other women and say, "Oh my God, that's so cute. What lip gloss are you wearing?" And then they go and they buy that lip gloss, right? From a woman-owned brand or whatever.
Well, yeah, we understand each other, and also we want the man still to kind of take over and be the provider and all that.
It's messed up.
I think but there's still a little bit of that. Like I think a lot of women want to be alpha and they want to have their own shit together and you know the things that they're doing.
Yeah, but the alpha women are even more anti-men.
You think they're all anti?
Oh yeah, very anti-men. Unless they're married and they're in a relationship where they have to support their man, like I don't see us being on equal.
But I
playing
think it's
fields.
because a lot of men wanted, at least in a lot of women's experiences, the man wants to take advantage of the woman, or maybe they have been taken advantage of, and they want to show them basically back, like "fuck you, I have my own things going on."
Okay, but that's trauma.
That's what a lot of women do, though.
That's trauma from the dad of the woman.
Oh shit, it could be, but I hear that from a lot of women that they kind of want to show them.
Well, that's not true because look what men want to do. Men don't want the show. They want to be like, hey, I want to buy you something nice because I care about you and I want you to feel better than the other woman next to you or that you see on Instagram. I want to show my affection towards you, Annie Cooper, because you're my number one. So here you go, right? Here's your bag or purse or shoes or whatever.
Okay, so
it
the
is.
woman is the asshole now. The man has the soft spot.
I'm just saying, like, when the relationship ends, who gets screwed in the relationship? I don't think the
Most of the
woman
time,
does.
the man.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Okay. I agree with that.
But the man is always looking for the long play. In relationships, I don't think they're looking for the quick fix. Like, you know, and that's not if the man's looking for a quick whatever, that's not a real relationship, you know? So.
Well, a lot of men want the quick, you know what? And then once they're done with that.
And you'd be surprised, women want it more.
Really? But in the same way?
100%.
Okay.
They're just very quiet about it. Very, very quiet about it. They know like that guy is not the long relationship guy. That guy is whatever I can take advantage of in the moment.
Well, I think, yeah, people want to see like, what can they do for me? What are they adding to my life? Whether it's right in the moment or long term. Like how relationships are.
But if there were two products that were the exact same product,
Yeah.
right? And one was owned by a man and one was owned by a woman, which one would you buy? Be honest.
The exact same product.
Exact same product.
Probably the woman, because I want to be like, all right,
That's
I want to be
racist.
supportive.
That's racist.
But it depends how the product is and the person. I would say if they're each sharing like their independent stories, and I think we relate on personalities too. If we're buying from an influencer, for example,
Okay,
what's
so
their
this
personality?
goes,
What's
so
their?
this goes back.
Can I relate to them?
This goes back to branding. So you're buying a product because you want to know the story about that product and what was their struggle to create this product, or what are they?
Some type of background, yeah.
Yeah, you want to be able to support your hero, whoever
Yes.
that is,
Something
right?
you can relate to, or you want to support. Yes.
So if you have a rags to riches guy that started a lip gloss, and then you have a woman that's empowering women, pushing forward, and look what we can do, and we built this multi-million-dollar company, and it's the same exact lip gloss.
I'd probably go for the rags to riches guy.
Nah, I don't believe you.
I think I would. Because it's like the struggle to get there. It's like if you have rich parents and you start a company and it goes huge. I don't think I'd buy from that person because I'm like, your parents probably funded the business from the start. Yes,
but
you worked hard,
we
but
assume that for every young kid that makes it.
probably, yes. But someone that like started from the ground up, they're building their own team. It took them a while, whatever type of thing. I'd probably support them. You don't believe me? Swear to God.
I think you're always going to lean 95% towards the female.
Okay. Fair enough.
And I think I'm right. I think I'm right.
Okay. Maybe. It depends on the moment what the product is.
But here's the thing. You've never done that before. Like, you've never sat back and looked at the product and be like, oh,
From two like that, yeah.
I wonder who owns this, or like, unless it's like, rare beauty or something, right?
True.
So, but I think people should actually take a second and look at everything they buy and study the backstory. See how hard that person worked, or what was their family history. Like, dude, look at the guy that owned Starbucks. He was living in the projects,
That's crazy.
and look at him now, and people judge him, right? So like, you don't know, we don't know, but for me, I find it very offensive when women buy only women products because they're staying true to their alliance.
No, only women, that's a little weird. If you're just buying women products, it's a little weird.
Okay.
I'm very impulsive when it comes to products, so I don't look at the backstory.
But now that
much.
we've had this conversation.
But now that we've had this, maybe I should.
You should.
And I'll stop spending money on everything. DoorDash.
Well,
Maybe I should stop.
that's impossible.
I like buy waters on DoorDash. Like, I'm ridiculous. I don't know why.
No, but you know what? Someone was telling me the other day, like, they feel guilty about it. You shouldn't feel guilty, because DoorDash is like, as much as you spend on DoorDash, you're going to spend the same amount in gas. It's your time.
That's the thing. It goes back to time. You have to be picky with that. Like, no matter what it takes. I mean, unless it's like you're paying $25 for water. That's stupid. But
I have a DoorDash addiction too. I'm going to be honest. Like, for me, as soon as I leave the office, I'm ordering DoorDash to my house. So when I get there, it's like right on my doorstep, like ready to go.
Same. Isn't that great? You feel so happy. You're like, perfect. Eat it right now. Do whatever I have to do. Yeah.
And you know what I've been doing too? It's my time management's so good that I'm starting to go to bed at like 8 o'clock.
Oh my God. Wow. I don't know how you do that.
I think it's just because my day starts so early, but I'm going so strong, and I'm single. So like, I don't have
You're going to bed at 8?
I don't have to go home. Well, I watch Netflix first.
Okay.
And then, but I don't have to go home and like fight someone.
Oh my God. So you've had some talk. That's a conversation for another podcast.
Yes.
Toxic relationships 101. That's not good.
No, toxic is great.
No, you should come home and have fun and whatever.
Yeah.
Be greeted very positively.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Yeah.
I just bought from another woman.
Fuck you. I'm going to sleep.
See?
Yeah, no, that's not good. Well, the going to sleep at 8 is great. I'm jealous because I don't go to sleep until like 1 a.m. I just can't.
Yeah, but that's because your mind's still processing a million things.
I just get bored. And I also want to just like do things.
So what does that mean? So you decide
My
like,
brain
hey,
comes alive at
it's
night.
midnight. Let's go out.
No, not going out, but like I'll start researching things on my phone, or like I'll start doing things for the next day.
So rabbit holes.
Yeah. Or I'll try to be productive, like fold the laundry, do the dishes, like anything.
What time do you wake up?
Like 6. It's really bad. I sleep for like 5
So
hours.
not healthy.
I know.
You need to drink
Fitness,
more water.
fit queen. More water.
No,
I actually need
just-
some right now. Okay, so to conclude this podcast, that was great. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. What do you want to?
I haven't
What do you
done
want to
this in a
finish?
while, so it's just crazy to
Yeah.
me that I'm actually sitting down with you.
Well, you need to start.
And thank you for coming to me.
Of
Because
course.
what people don't know is that you live on the other side of the United States.
Yes.
And
do.
the fact that you came to Newport Beach is
Just for you on this trip.
Thank you.
No, I had some other things, but I did come here just for you. Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yes,
that.
of course.
And I hope you like the studio.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I like the glasses too. We look great.
Well, of course.
We look like $1 million
This is
bucks.
what we do, Andy Cooper.
Are these glasses made from a woman, or else I'm not buying them? Do you have a woman on your team?
Yes.
Okay.
Shang Li in China.
Oh, amazing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
China's where it's at with that type of stuff. I will tell you.
Every type of stuff.
Okay, what's your social media? Plug all of that.
At Nik Richie, it's
NIK.
NIK. It's the little at sign. NIK. Richie, RICHIE. We'll probably have a lower third, so whatever's on the lower third, you should follow. Also, my PR company's at Warrior Network Agency.
Yes.
So if you're looking to like blow up, if you have a brand, I'm the best.
He's the man.
Probably number one in the world is
There you
a publicist, but also a brand manager.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. This was the On Track podcast with Annie, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See
Rate it
ya.
5 stars. Okay, that's it.